Hey everybody, how we doing? In case you couldn't see us, because I know the bottle is kind of sitting here, who put that there for product placement? I have today with me a very special guest, Dustin McGowen.
Hi.
And Dustin actually is a coworker of mine, and he's doing this podcast out of a different hotel from what I did with Dave Crenshaw in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Absolutely. Man.
Yeah.
This is really fun. A goal for me in life. It's like a bucket list item. Just check off.
Just do the podcast.
Yeah.
And this is really easy going. Just basically have some drink, and we haven't even opened up the bottle yet. Again, it is kind of shameless product placement. I'm hoping they reach out to me someday and they're like, hey, we got you. Here's a case.
Here's a case. Welcome.
So I'm going to make a bunch of noises. I'm opening this up. But while I'm doing that, if you want to maybe say hello and tell us, what you had in mind you want to talk about, or your history and anything.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Dustin McGowen. I currently live on the outskirts of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nice little suburb community called Broken Arrow. Not to be confused with the John Travolta, Christian Slater film of the same name.
Okay.
Where the nuclear weapon's stolen out. I don't know if you saw that one. It's usually on network TV. Been a while. On the weekends. Yeah, it's been a while. But I'm from Broken Arrow. I currently live there. I'm originally from Oklahoma City, Moore, Oklahoma, where all the tornadoes are.
Okay.
And I've been in Oklahoma most of my life. I've lived a little bit in Missouri and Indianapolis. Currently, we work at the same place.
Right, we do.
Yeah.
For McDonald's, yes.
Absolutely.
Janitors
absolutely.
is what we are.
Really? Janitors, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. I'm not usually a Scotch guy, but I'm branching out for the pod here.
You should, absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll have fun with it. And you know what? The first couple of sips, I mean, they may be a little strong, but after that, oh yeah.
Just right on down here.
No worries, trust
Perfect.
me.
And I know you know your Scotch because I've seen a couple eps before. So
Yeah, actually almost every episode that I've done so far with my guests, I think there was just one episode where we didn't do it because I don't want to give too much personal away, but he basically is not able to drink.
Sure.
So we had espressos and coffees instead.
well, there you go.
So
there you go.
back
It's inclusivity.
Yeah.
Synergy, as it were.
It would, yes. And I try to be very accommodating too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I offered a nice, robust cup of coffee or espresso for that gentleman. So, yeah, so we work together, and it's I'm really glad to have him on because he does some very cool things, I think, from what I'm hearing so far. And we talked a little bit off camera before we started this tonight too. And I guess the big one, so how would I say this? If I say wrestling, is that completely wrong to say just like that?
No. I'm involved in local independent professional wrestling in northeastern Oklahoma. And so there's a couple different organizations that I work with. One is Wrestling for a Cause. It's a wrestling organization that runs charity benefit shows for families of kids that are affected with pediatric cancer. It's an amazing organization. We raise a great deal of money. Everybody works for free. A lot of times in wrestling you hear stories about money and all these awful things, and it's not the most above board industry sometimes, but with Wrestling for a Cause we really do a great job for those families where the kids are stricken with one of the worst things that can possibly happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you a question because I'm trying to understand this as we go. So is that a local, you said, right?
It is. It's a local deal. Shows are in and around northeastern Oklahoma, based out of Tulsa. Most everybody's from Tulsa. We have folks come as far as southern Texas, parts of Missouri. We've got some folks coming from Tennessee for our next show.
Oh, nice. And so I know Tennessee. How far away would that be from Oklahoma? Not too far, right?
It'd probably be about a 10-hour drive from parts of Tennessee.
Oh, okay, it would be then.
Just to get from Memphis to Tulsa would probably be about 8 hours.
Okay.
So you have people driving over 8 hours to come help a family that's in one of the worst situations you can possibly be in.
That's huge support, and that's awesome that you guys do that like that. And so that's one of two you said, or is that okay? So there's that one, which is a great cause. You're doing it as something fun to do, hobby, but you're helping out families. And then the other, what's the other then?
The other one that I work with is United Wrestling Entertainment, and it's based in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. It's a small town, capital of the Cherokee Nation. My wife's family's from there. We both met there. I went to college in Tahlequah, small school, Northeastern State University, Go River Hawks.
There you go.
Carrie Underwood, I don't know if you're familiar with Carrie.
Country artist, right?
Carrie is the most famous graduate of Northeastern State University.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's oldest institution of higher learning, founded in the 1840s. Actually, it was right after the Cherokee removal. It was founded as a seminary for young Cherokee, and it's been a university or an institution of higher learning ever since. Now it's Northeastern State University. It's a public 4-year degree-seeking institution, also offering optometry is their big postgraduate degree.
I mean, that sounds like a big deal. I never liked math very much, which that's part of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. The being eye doctors is definitely part of math. Yeah.
So it's optometry.
Glasses.
Just so you know, it has nothing to do with math as much as it does to do with eyes.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you were really nice about explaining that because I didn't realize it in the moment.
Well, so I think one of the things that you'll notice here is I'm from Oklahoma. My voice sounds very Oklahoma, and it's I was born and raised there. I spent some time out of Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana, but we're very nice people. We definitely don't like to point out things when people, we like to go the nice way around. So when somebody does something maybe not correct.
And there's a reason why I like this guy, and that's definitely one of the reasons. I can tell he's a good guy. And don't ever be afraid to call me out on anything. Because, like I told you earlier, is that this is great because I get to learn stuff. And the thing is, optometry, of course, now that you said that, I'm like, oh, of course. At the end of it, the tree, right? I feel like trigonometry, geometry.
Right.
And all those things. And that's why,
more on the opto than the tree side.
The opto. Always start with the first part of the word, and that usually helps explain the rest of it, right?
Exactly.
There we go.
Different than an ophthalmologist who does eye surgery.
Oh, good. Like LASIK?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Ophthalmologists do LASIK. They do other eye surgeries that I'm not aware of, but I know they do LASIK.
Question for you. I know we're getting off topic. We're going to get back to what we were talking about. So I wear contacts and glasses, and then I know you wear glasses. Have you ever thought about getting LASIK?
No way. I love. I was talking about this to somebody the other day at a wrestling event. They said, I'm about to get LASIK. I just can't handle the glasses anymore. I said, well, here's the thing. And I was talking to a female, and I made it really clear there are a very limited amount of accessories that are acceptable, especially in our profession, which is which tends to be pretty conservative in terms of its ideals, right? At McDonald's, being James.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, McDonald's.
Yes.
I'm loving it, by the way.
We got part of the country covered. I've got more of upper Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. You've got that Oklahoma, and then what other technically
part
parts?
of Oklahoma? I've only got Eastern Oklahoma.
Okay.
We've got another janitor that works in Western Oklahoma and West Texas.
Sure.
I cover Eastern Oklahoma, Tulsa area, and then I also cover most of the Ozarks area.
Oh, cool. So that's a nice area then.
That's beautiful. It is beautiful. Places like Springfield, Missouri, Harrison, Arkansas, Mountain Home, Joplin, Missouri, a lot of those rural areas.
That's cool though. So I guess I'm cutting in front of you again. So you were talking to this person about LASIK, and
so we work in a conservative profession, and so I said, in the business that I do, there are very few accessories that you can wear, very few pieces of jewelry that are acceptable to wear for somebody that does what we do. And just really for men in general. I mean, it's kind of one of those societal norms. It's just, it's 2018, but there's still things that in the business world and in a conservative place like Oklahoma that men and women can and can't do. It's horrible. It's awful to say, but there are only so many accessories that I can wear. I can wear a watch. I can wear a ring because I'm married. And then I can wear glasses. That's really the only jewelry that it's acceptable for me societally to wear.
Okay, I was going to ask, so is it out in public then you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's like no chains? No two chains or
not,
anything
not
like that?
really.
I'm just kidding.
Bolo ties.
Oh.
Belt buckles.
Wait, in Oklahoma you can't wear belt buckles?
No. These are things that are acceptable.
Oh, they are acceptable.
Acceptable. Bolo ties, belt buckles, string ties. Those are different accessories. You can wear rings or sometimes. I just think wearing multiple rings is a bit gaudy. But no, there's not a whole lot of chains. Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I didn't know it was like that. It was frowned upon then.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's just men wearing jewelry in general. It's it's a real blue collar
earrings.
That's pretty frowned upon.
Yeah. I mean, I frown upon my friends that wear earrings that are guys. So,
and
I let them know too.
Yeah.
Darren, you know who I'm talking about. He's going to be on my podcast in a couple of months, so
it's coming to get you.
It's a stud too.
Yeah.
Not him, his earring.
His like a big one? Are we talking like baseball player size stud or
not like that. No,
not like that.
No.
He's not. It's not showy or anything.
For me, it's showy.
For you, it's
I give him a hard time, right?
Yeah.
Just because I'm a friend of his. So yeah, he's a baller though.
You were absolutely right. At first few sips, it was a little surprising, but it's just smooth now.
I want to tell you this though, is that this 14-year Caribbean cask, it's definitely more on the, and I didn't even think about your taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should have probably asked, but this one's definitely a little bit more on the peatier side.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it probably has a little bit more of a bite to it initially. But, oh yeah,
It tastes great now.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it is
it's great.
One of my favorites, and that's why I brought it for this podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So okay. So before we get too far off, then I think we were talking about the LASIK and
So-
why isn't
I won't get LASIK
Okay.
because glasses are an accessory to me. They're a way to style. I don't wear the transition lenses. I wear separate sunglasses just
Okay.
for another accessory piece. Just to kind of cement my style a little bit without being too showy about it. I just like it. I like having nice glasses. I have several different pair that I wear. Go to the eye doctor and get a couple frames or something like that every year.
I understand. So even though I wear contacts most of the time, I do have a couple pair of glasses and that are pretty decent. So I'm one of those basics that just likes to match my accessories. So my watch and my eyeglasses are both Tag Heuer.
There you go.
I also have a beater pair of old Nike glasses that I've had forever. It's the old Flexon first gen ones. They still work though.
Wow.
I mean, they haven't snapped, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I totally get that too with the accessories and things like that. And I did not know that it was like that down there. It was frowned upon. And is it like that, you think, in more areas in the country too that I'm not aware of?
I just think that, in places. So one of the things about Oklahoma is that everything is pretty old fashioned. It's we were talking earlier about like liquor laws and stuff.
Sure. Yep.
Oklahoma repealed prohibition in 1959, while the rest of the country repealed it in the 20s.
Oh, okay.
So prohibition, the 21st Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, I think, that repealed the 18th Amendment was ratified in the 20s.
Okay.
If I'm mistaken, leave it in the comments. I'm sorry if that's the wrong deal.
That's okay. Be easy on them too. At the same time, typically we have I have a computer that I use to look up facts, not because I'm challenging you, but just for us to find out together. So what I'll probably do then, if I have any, of course, the usual links for Dustin's socials or the wrestling that we're going to keep talking about, I'll make sure all that's down below in the description. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Right down there.
Right down here somewhere. In this area.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So so we don't know for sure if it's like that across many other states, but so the LASIK thing, it's about accessories then. That's why you don't believe in it. It's not because you feel like, oh, if somebody does that to me, I'm going to lose my eyesight.
No. I completely trust in the medical science behind it. I just don't want to do it personally. My sister-in-law did it. Great.
You okay?
She's great.
Question for your sister, and not to get too personal. How old is your sister?
My sister-in-law is in her mid-20s.
Okay, so she's fairly young.
Yeah.
I read this because I always thought about getting it because, just to be like, all right, well, I don't have to deal with glasses anymore. But I heard that in some cases it just gets back the same way it was over time, though, right? It's like anything else, maybe, that just eventually it'll...
I mean, you would think so. I mean, with retinal degeneration as you age, every part of your body gets older, right?
True.
Your teeth. People lose teeth. They have to get dentures. Kids lose teeth. They get new ones.
I know all about that.
My kids are growing teeth. My little one is 2, and so he's just finished up the main teething.
So cute.
And we're gonna do that
age, right?
We're gonna do it all over again. We're gonna lose all the teeth, and we're gonna grow them right back.
That's hilarious. I remember those days too.
Yeah.
You do like the tooth fairy stuff?
My daughter is my oldest daughter. She's not my oldest. She's my only daughter. She's 5.
She's 5. Okay.
And so we have not started that yet.
Okay.
So, but we will.
Sure.
We definitely will. Sure. She loves that kind of stuff.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, it's very fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Really cool stuff.
So
Go ahead.
but no. So the wrestling then. So you're basically in 2 different ones. One that's more for the supporting a good cause, and then the other one is kind of more of a bigger paid one kind of thing.
They're both nonprofit. It's just
Okay.
that not every show is themed towards helping a family that has somebody that's been affected by child cancer.
Okay.
Sometimes there'll be shows at UWE and this is a more recent change. It's more recently become a nonprofit.
Okay.
There'll be some shows that'll be for CASA, court-appointed special advocates.
I'm not aware of that.
So when a kid needs to be represented legally, the court will appoint a lawyer for them. Like, say if they need emancipation,
Okay.
or if they need to be represented in some type of criminal proceeding. So, like if they're a victim of a crime,
Yeah.
they receive a court-appointed special advocate to help them through the legal process.
Because they don't have the money, or they don't have somebody to help them with that. No family.
They're just little kids.
No family, right, to
well,
help with that.
Or they're in bad situations, like they've been victimized or they've been assaulted or something like that. So CASA really helps those kids out when they need help legally.
Pretty cool.
So they get a voice in the legal proceeding, like a representative, when obviously they can't afford one because they're small children.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
either way, it's a good deal, regardless. And you're having fun doing it.
I love it.
How long have you been doing this in general with this wrestling? And I say this wrestling, but because I don't know how to properly just
Sure.
kind of talk about it.
I've been involved in wrestling. I've been a fan of wrestling my entire life.
Yeah.
I started watching wrestling when I was, and some of my first memories are watching Hulk Hogan slam Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9.
Okay, and
on pay-per-view.
And I don't. So I used to watch a little bit here and there of wrestling, but I could never. I want you to tell me these situations, because I'm gonna probably YouTube them later. Is probably what I'm gonna do.
You should.
Just look them up. So, yeah. So that situation.
That's my first mememory.
That was the first
one of
one.
my
Okay.
first memories in my entire life. My first memory of wrestling, and one of my first memories is watching WrestleMania 9. For perspective, WrestleMania 35 will be coming up for next year.
So what year was that? The 9th one then? Would you remember?
It's like 93.
93.
93.
So you're about. I feel like you're just a little bit younger than me then.
I'm 31.
Yeah. So I'm 34.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. That's what I was trying to put in perspective. Like for me, so my first one that I remember is that the Undertaker, the coffin matches.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was like what I remembered.
It's right around the same time. That's like 91.
Is that what that
Yeah,
was?
Undertaker debuted in 1990. And then there were like 91, 92, 93. There's a lot of those coffin matches in there. 94 is a big one. He got beat at Royal Rumble 94 by Yokozuna.
That
who
same
was-
guy with the Hulk thing.
He was
yeah.
a sumo guy. Yeah, he was a sumo wrestler character.
I think I know who you're talking about now. Of course, as soon as you say that, it like clicks a little bit, right? Because again, even though I remember the Undertaker and the coffin matches, I didn't really watch it a whole lot. Not that I didn't like it. I think it's just because whatever Dad was watching
Sure.
at the time.
Sure. I mean,
right?
And a lot of people get into wrestling that way because one of their parents likes it or a friend likes it. Nobody really kind of just stumbles into wrestling. They don't just flip the TV and say, "Oh, there's dudes in not a lot of clothing that are wrestling around with each other." That's not something that happens.
Seems a little questionable, maybe.
It does.
Right.
Especially if you're a child.
But it's entertainment.
But it's entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like any other show.
Yeah.
It's just this one. Its premise is that it is an athletic contest between competitors in a combat sport, like UFC or anything else. It just happens to be pre-planned, scripted.
Sure.
If
Right.
you didn't know, folks, professional wrestling involves scripted storylines that involve pre-planned outcomes. That comes straight from the Wikipedia page for professional wrestling.
I love it. That was like the disclaimer of the show. I feel like that was really important. And for some kids, I think, obviously not a lot of kids know that. Some do, maybe by chance. I will tell you this, though. I remember, what was that movie? And you're going to know this, I feel like. What was the movie that had the guy from the Scream movie that he was like a diehard wrestling?
The name of the movie is Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble. That's
Yeah.
what it was. And he's like, wrestling's not fake or something
Yeah.
like that, which I just remember that. I don't even know if I watched the movie. I felt like that was in the preview or something like that.
It involves it's David Arquette is the star of the movie.
That's who it was. That was the chick from Friends, her husband, right?
Yeah,
For the longest
Courtney
time.
Cox.
Courtney
Yeah,
Cox,
Courtney
yep.
Cox was married to David Arquette. David Arquette actually, the second biggest promotion in the 1990s was WCW. There was WWE, or what was called WWF then, and then there was WCW. David Arquette at one point was the WCW champion.
By chance, because he was in some random match.
He was in a random match, and he happened to win the title. It's commonly cited by wrestling historians as the death of WCW. As soon as an actor wins your title, you lose that facade of legitimacy, even though... So here's the weird thing about professional wrestling, is that most people who watch, like you said, most people who watch professional wrestling know that it's scripted, pre-planned. It's a form of entertainment.
Right.
But in order for it to be entertaining, it has to maintain a facade of legitimacy.
Yeah.
So
With the stories, you're saying.
with the stories, yeah, with
Yeah.
the stories, with the people who hold the championships, you know, like Brock Lesnar. Are you familiar with Brock Lesnar?
The name, but not anything to do with him as a wrestler.
So Brock
I recognize the name, though.
Brock Lesnar was a multiple-time NCAA amateur wrestling champion at the University of Minnesota. The only reason he didn't go to the Olympics is because he signed for WWE with big money. And WWE is World Wrestling Entertainment, the biggest wrestling company in the world, multi-billion-dollar company. He did not go to the Olympics because he signed with WWE. He went pro, essentially. Money, big money.
Kids.
Yeah. Get that money.
Money.
An Olympic medal is a piece of gold. Money talks.
How else is the Scotch going to pay for itself someday when you're old enough to drink, right?
Exactly.
And I'm out.
Exactly.
Now I feel like I got to dip
in
in there. Are you okay with me
Yeah,
dipping in?
No, we're totally fine.
All right, cool.
You're among friends here.
All right, good. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
So yeah, I guess I was coming back around to that. So even there's hope for folks like us that work at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a little Scotch, you know, but you got to keep in school, stay in school,
Absolutely.
right?
So Brock Lesnar wins the he goes to WWE. He becomes the youngest WWE champion in history at like 22 years old.
That's pretty young.
He does everything he can in the storylines in WWE, and he decides that that's not all he wants to do with his life. And so he goes and tries out for the Minnesota Vikings because he lives in Minnesota. And he doesn't make the roster. And so then he decides he wants to go become the Ultimate Fighting Champion, which the Ultimate Fighting Championship is a mixed martial arts organization.
UFC,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's completely legitimate, or so we think. It might also be a form of entertainment. We don't know that.
I feel like isn't that probably a little bit more legit? I feel like
it
is.
It is. It's more of an actual combat sport.
Right.
Yeah, and so he went and became the champion of that too.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then after that, he came back to WWE, and now he holds their Universal Championship, which is one of their top titles.
Yeah.
While he will be fighting, probably in January, for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. So
Hold 2 titles then, possibly.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
So it all goes back to this facade of legitimacy.
Yeah.
If somebody who was on WWE's light heavyweight program, 205 Live, all the guys weighed 205 or under. If somebody were to beat him in 5 seconds, you would lose the facade of legitimacy at that point.
Sure.
So you always have to maintain that facade of legitimacy.
So getting back to David Arquette then.
Yeah, it killed WCW, and he was in Ready to Rumble, which starred him and the guy who is, what's his name? He's the star of Chicago Med now. I cannot remember his name for the life of me.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Tuesdays on NBC.
Description in the description. Check the description. Links in the description.
He's the most famous actor on the show. I just can't remember his name right now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll look it up later.
There you go.
I'll get it. No
It's a
big deal.
great show. Tuesday nights. If they want to plug the podcast too, I would tell it'd be a great show to be a sponsor for your podcast.
Of course it is.
It might even be in the Google ads now.
It could be.
It could be.
I want you to know that I'm a whore at this point, so I'll take any sponsorships I can get.
The Scotch don't pay for itself. Yeah.
He's right. I mean, he really is.
So
you
were talking about that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not trying to drive here.
No. I love how we're
Yeah.
coming back to it, though.
Yeah.
We're tying back to this,
Yeah.
though, with David Arquette. So he ruined WCW.
Mm-hmm.
And get yourself some more. But
Yeah,
what were you
absolutely.
going to say, though, following up?
Just that the business itself has to maintain that facade of legitimacy in order for it to maintain its status as a worthy form of entertainment. You know, if you're watching Law and Order Special Victims Unit and Mariska Hargitay turns to camera and says, "Hey kids, this is a special message from Detective Olivia Benson," you would lose all respect for the program.
Of course
right?
you would.
You would
right.
lose that entire
Because it's a drama.
right.
Because if it's The Office or if it's something else or Parks and Recreation, they're allowed to get away with looking at the camera because that's all part of the show.
Because it's part of their facade of legitimacy.
Right, yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay. So David Arquette ruined WCW. That's on record, it sounds like. So
It's commonly believed.
So the other thing, I'm going to throw another wrench into the wrestling thing. When you brought up Hulk Hogan earlier, right? And remind me again of the sumo wrestler guy. What was his name?
Yokozuna.
That's just something I'm not able to retain that quickly, but Yokozuna.
It's Yokozuna.
Zune.
Yeah, Yokozuna. With an A at the end.
Right, but Zune, not Zoom.
Yeah,
Zuna.
Zuna.
So like the Microsoft Zune, the MP3 player.
So Yokozuna is actually this is another form of wrestling that is completely legitimate Japanese sumo wrestling. The highest rank that you can achieve in Japanese sumo wrestling is that of Yokozuna.
So and then
The character's name was Yokozuna. He was actually, fun fact, he was actually Samoan. Most of the famous wrestlers of color
yes,
are usually Samoan, actually.
because of that's like the body build they usually have or something for that.
It's just
or?
one family. There's
just
one
one
family
family
of famous Samoan wrestlers.
Oh, no kidding.
The most famous of those is currently Hollywood's biggest star, Dwayne Johnson.
The
commonly
Rock.
known as The Rock.
Of course.
Absolutely.
I follow him on Instagram. He's pretty cool, it seems like.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I need to watch Ballers. Is that good?
So I have HBO, but I have not seen that yet. Just because the time I have for TV, it seems like it's next to none with my life.
Sure.
Which I think when we did introductions at the big McDonald's roundtable earlier, I said that I'm trying to catch up on Westworld season 2. But when I do have time, that's what I'm trying to catch up on.
It's so good.
I'm halfway through. At some point, I'll get it done. But yeah, so what I was coming back to, though, before I forget this, so Hulk Hogan dabbled as an actor, of course. The kids, they won't know this.
Sure.
The children out there.
Yeah.
But Hulk Hogan was in, I remember, a movie, and maybe this was his, like, maybe his early, really popular days in the mid-'90s, maybe when this was going on. Do you remember what the movie was called? Because
he's been in several movies.
What was the one where he had this evil villain with the shiny top?
Okay, so that's the Three Ninjas.
That was the Three Ninjas?
I believe that he has the bald head in Three Ninjas. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't bald. So there was like it wasn't. So Hulk Hogan was the good guy. There was 2 kids he had to watch.
Oh, that's Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
I'm
sorry
not,
for the outburst.
Sorry to toot my own horn here, but I know a lot about professional wrestling and wrestlers.
I love it. That's great.
I'm just a total fan. I'm a total fan.
Can we reflect on Mr. Nanny for a minute?
Sure.
That was awful.
It was horrible.
I loved it, though.
Not the worst Hulk Hogan movie, though.
Think about it. When we would have watched that originally, I don't know when you first saw it, totally cool.
Totally cool. It's Hulk Hogan. He's the coolest guy in the world.
You know, kids with rich kids, spoiled kids, got all this stuff in the house and, you know, dealing with, they're pranking. It's almost like Home Alone, but they're pranking the nanny instead in the house.
And it's Hulk Hogan. It's
hilarious.
this huge guy.
Who, you know, and I feel like even back then, wet, you know, thin, noodly hair, and then nothing on top, right? Up
Oh, he
front.
still has that. I don't know.
got
I'm
that.
sure it's a wig now, but he has like a bandana. But he
wig.
still has the noodly hair.
Yes.
Yeah, still to this day.
Right.
Yeah, we won't talk about Hulk Hogan post 2013. That's
that
not
the
a
cutoff?
That's not a topic we want to cover.
I don't know.
No,
That's
there's
what
a
I'm
lot of-
learning. I'm learning here.
Do you remember the website Gawker?
Okay, so the lawsuit with the whole
Hulk Hogan destroyed Gawker.
because of the whole revealing of the certain tapes.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, post 2013, Hulk Hogan's kind of a faux pas. Pre 2013, we're good. I know everything about Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Yeah. Nowadays, he's kind of a pariah.
I will say this though. I remember his daughter is pretty cute.
She is a beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman. Beauty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, Mr. Nanny, thank you for clearing that
Yeah.
up. You've cleared a lot up on wrestling so far for me.
Good.
And also, like for eyes, optometry too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really,
Ophthalmology, an optician, a completely different person. The person who makes your glasses is an optician.
I feel like I recognize that word too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all opto. That's the Greek root.
This is really why I do this, for smart people like him. I really don't know anything. All I know about is I need to use Mr. Clean. I dump some of that or some Pine Sol in the bucket and get that nice and hot. Clean those floors in the bathroom. I mean, that's what we're trained to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get it done. You know, all that technical knowledge really, really comes in handy. Robust technical knowledge.
Robust, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every day when we get to McDonald's, we've got a dashboard full of great, what would you say?
Tasks
that need to be completed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we do have a robust lineup of buckets and mops.
things that need to be done every day. And
Synergy brings it all together.
And Synergy brings it all together, and McDonald's thanks us for everything that we do.
How else would I be able to afford that Scotch?
Yeah.
We could be drinking like Hawkeye vodka or something. Said, you know what that is?
I don't.
Don't ever.
It
look
sounds
into
horrible.
It's awful. You know, like the big plastic jug that's like $10. Yeah. It's like, do you like having diarrhea?
Not really.
Then you don't want to drink it.
Okay. The one we drank in college was called Heaven's Hill.
Heaven's Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heaven's Hill vodka. It
Not
was
so
the same
heavenly?
kind of deal. No, it wasn't. It tasted like charcoal.
It tasted like charcoal. It wasn't really distilled very well for vodka. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no. I always went for the cheap whiskeys when I was in college, like
Bourbons or blended?
These are essentially neutral grain spirits that are colored brown. When you get to the $10 half gallon
Sure.
bottle,
Like that vodka I was telling you about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Kentucky Deluxe is the name of the main one that we would always drink.
So is that equally bad for your bowels as the
You know, not really though.
vodka? Stay away from it.
Stay away from the
The
vodka.
cheap vodka.
Kids, when you become of legal drinking age, like we are, I'm not going to show you my ID, so you can't really see my ID number and everything. But
I believe him.
yeah, when you get to legal drinking age, stick to cheap brown liquors instead of cheap clear ones.
That's a good point.
Good
And you
point.
know what? For multiple reasons too. I mean, we're not housewives on a diet, so
Yeah.
we're dads
Cheers.
on a diet instead. I guess,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
You got to work on those dad bods.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. You know, a few calories here and there. It's no big deal. Still treating you pretty well?
Oh, it's great. It's great. You know scotches. You may not know about the intricacies
I don't.
of eye health, but you definitely know about scotches.
Do you like how I assumed I didn't know whatever? So you're like, you don't know about this. I'm like, you don't have to tell me. I already know I don't know about
There
it.
we go. See,
Yeah.
this is a synergy that
It
we have
is.
here.
We're bringing it all together for you on this podcast
Yeah.
because you know what? We're in the beautiful. We didn't even really say where we were at.
We
It
need
could
to
be a
talk-
mystery.
We
It could be a Super 8 motel in like, what's the worst place you would ever want to have a podcast? I feel like this painting gives it away that it's not a Super 8.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a Super 8.
I mean,
We're in a boutique hotel in the Great Lakes region,
on the 14th floor, the top floor, no less,
the penthouse level.
which means nothing, just to let you know.
FYI,
There's no fridge in this room.
no.
It might as well be a Super 8 at this point.
My beer is getting warm in my room as we speak.
Fun fact. Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's okay.
I do feel bad, though.
Don't worry about it. It's not a crafted IPA or a cidre, so you don't need to worry about it getting cold. It can get warm and then get cold again. It's definitely a blue collar beer from Central America.
Corona.
Modelo.
Modelo.
Actually.
Oh, this time. I'm sorry.
I'm a Modelo guy. I like Modelo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the nice thing about Scotch is too, and not to turn this into an alcohol-related conversation. We are drinking it though.
That's
I mean,
true.
the nice thing is with Scotch though is that it's that good brown liquor you can have, but also you can have it on, just neat, no rocks, but it kind of helps to dilute it down a little bit because I feel like if we drank this neat in the same amount that we've been pouring, you'd be crawling out of this room. Is what would be
I
happening.
eventually need to leave this room to get to my own.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're going to keep talking. So we went through wrestling stuff. We talked about Hulk Hogan's terrible movies that he's been in. At the time, though, were pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also talked about optometry.
Yeah.
Eye care is very important.
Very important. You
So-
definitely gotta keep on it.
So what I really want to know, though, and I know we talked about this earlier, too, off camera, but I love the fact that he gets involved. So he's just not there. Dustin is just not there. You are actually part of the show.
I am definitely part of the show.
Can you go into that and tell us what you've been doing lately, what you've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. At Wrestling for a Cause, I'm a backstage interviewer. So we have a pre-show that plays in the arena or community center, gym, wherever we're at. We have a pre-show that plays in venue, and I'm the host of that pre-show. It's called Before the Fight. Because our
Cool.
motto is keep fighting.
Just like a pregame show.
Wrestling. Yeah, it's a pregame
that's
show.
awesome, though. Yeah.
Recaps all the different storylines that are going into the event, what matches you're going to see that evening. And then I also host a recap show that's all interviews, and it's called After the Cause. So After the Cause.
I like
is
the name of it.
Wrestling for a Cause, After the Cause, Before the Fight, Keep Fighting. That's our motto, is keep fighting. That's my tagline at the end of every show, is keep fighting.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Keep fighting. Then.
Yeah, keep fighting.
The send off.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the
Very nice.
So I'm an interviewer there, and I do interviews in ring sometimes. After something big will happen on the show, I'll do an interview in ring, and then usually whoever wins the main event on the show will go and talk to either the family of the child if they're in the hospital, or if we've done shows posthumously before as well to help pay for leftover bills and stuff, because these kids they fight so hard.
That's really nice of you guys to do that too.
It's it's all Tim Rockwell. Is the founder of WFC.
Okay, is he like a big deal in that area down there?
He is. He's been on the scene for 15, 17 years.
Well, that's a long time, right?
Yeah, very long for wrestling. Most people flame out after 2 or 3. But Tim is the founder, president. He is the owner of Wrestling for a Cause. He's not the richest man in the world, but he's got a heart of gold, and he'll do anything to help these families. It's amazing. So
That's
sometimes
awesome.
I'll go and interview
Yeah.
the performer that wins at the end of the show, and then they will go and talk to either the family or the kid themselves after. The show usually will end with the entire crowd cheering that kid,
Oh, that's
so they can
cool.
have that moment of not only a whole wrestling show being made for them, but also at the end of the event, they're the one that's the focus of the show, not the wrestler that won. We'll have storylines that go on the next month.
Sure, but for that one
For
show.
that one show, they're they're the focus.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
You guys do that.
Really.
It really is. I mean, I can only imagine how grateful the parents would be.
I don't know. I personally, I can't go talk to them.
Because you get all worked up about
I get way too worked up. I'm a crier.
I'd be the same way.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
So I'm a crier. I can't get really close to the families at all.
So you basically do your thing, though, post, though, and it's like you interview them. Is it, have you ever had a situation where things get really crazy before or after the fight, too, where the story continues with another guy coming in and
Absolutely.
it's like this, you know what I'm saying?
We will definitely have some fights in our post show.
That's cool. That's what I was wondering.
We'll set up matches for the next show at the post show.
Okay.
I do a commentary at the end of every show, kind of like familiar with Jerry Springer. At the end of every Jerry Springer,
Of course.
he's got a final thought.
Yeah.
I do a final thought at the end of this post show.
And your send-off again was?
Keep fighting.
That's right. Remember, at the end of this podcast, I'm expecting him to do that. I want you to do that.
There you go.
Right at the camera.
I definitely
for
will.
us. Yeah.
I'm Dustin, and that's my other catchphrase is I'm Dustin McGowen. I say it constantly. So my wrestling, a lot of people have different wrestling names
Yeah.
than they do real names. But I've never been one, mainly because I just wouldn't answer to it because I have one name. My name is Dustin McGowen. If somebody tried to call me something else, I just wouldn't recognize it.
Is it because that would be your wrestling name, you're saying? Mm-hmm. So do you have a wrestling name?
No, it's just Dustin
So
McGowen.
you keep it that way?
Yeah.
Okay. All
So
right,
it's
cool.
easy. So if somebody calls me out or something, that can just say that's Dustin McGowen. So at WFC, keep fighting is a catchphrase, but also I'm Dustin McGowen is another one, and I have an announcer voice.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So it's like after the cause, I'm Dustin McGowen. We're here with Double D, who won the Hometown Heroes Championship tonight. Double D, what are your thoughts after this epic win?
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so it's just you gotta just slip into it.
No, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
good. I love that. You just put in that personality for that or that. That's so cool. And then you do this again. Remind me, how long have you been doing this now?
I've been with WFC. I've been with WFC over 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
With UWE, which is the other one, which we'll get into in a minute, because my role there is completely different.
Completely. Okay.
I've been working off and on with the guys that run UWE for about 11 years.
Just to be clear, then, so the 2-year one is the charity one, and then this one we're gonna get into. That's one where he's more involved. Then,
right.
You're
so
involved.
I've moved a lot of places with McDonald's. Yeah. I've been in 3 different areas.
He's seen the McRib come back so many times.
Exactly.
So many times.
So many times. I've gone to so many different territories with Mac-a-Day. And, with that, I was on a hiatus from all wrestling-related activities for probably a good 4.5 years in that 11 years. But when I knew I was moving back to Oklahoma,
Yeah.
the first people that I called were the people that run UWE.
Because you want to get back.
Because I wanted to get back into it. Yeah, absolutely.
It was your passion, right?
Absolutely. I love it's an amazing way to spend a Saturday. To help a family, to get to do a hobby that you really enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you play music. You know how it is.
I was thinking it,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to bring it into because I'm not trying to interrupt what's going on
No,
here.
you're a musician. It's your performance. You not only love. I would guess. I'm not going to put words in your. Try not to put words in your. You love the music that you perform, but you also love the act of performing the music.
I am as friends know, good friends back home, I'm a music whore, is what I am.
There you go.
I love it. It's great. I'm sure it's that similar kind of high you're getting,
It is.
too.
It's that same the crowd, when the noise that the crowd makes when you do something that they really appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like it.
And, for us, technically, and it's no secret in the previous podcast, we've kind of joked like this about McDonald's. But the truth we're not janitors. We're actually public speakers for McDonald's.
Yeah.
So we actually train, like, fry cooks.
Yeah,
I mean,
you bet.
The secret's out now, so.
Yeah, the secret's out. We're telling them how much salt to put in, the exact right way to, fix all those reports that seem to get longer and longer all the time. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, thanks. Just go ahead and throw a few more in that ASAP for me, okay?
Yeah, thanks, bud.
Thanks, bud.
Couple more value meals in
Bud.
that website.
Love you, bud. But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyway, so
What's my login? So
we'll give him more crap tomorrow.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's worth giving the crap to.
He is, absolutely. And he gives it back to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, he tries to, but anyway, so yes, not trying to cut in front of you.
No,
but
no worries.
sorry.
So that's WFC.
Okay.
That's kind of it in a nutshell. I'm a plain essentially I'm a sports commentator there.
I think that's great, though.
It's
I love
really
your voice
fun.
again. Can you give me a little bit more of that again?
Like-
Do me a favor. Before
Sure.
you do it, talk about what we're drinking tonight.
We're here in the Great Lakes region tonight drinking the Balvenie, the Caribbean Cask, 14 years aged, 14 years, brought to you by Balvenie.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a background in radio as well, and so that's where that
Oh.
voice came from.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I was at
That's so awesome.
before I ever was on the fry cook line at McDonald's, and then getting to train the fry cooks. Before
course.
all that,
Yes.
I was an advertising salesman, and I was also on the radio in Tahlequah, which is where UWE is.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what? I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning.
We're
so much.
learning.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when you were on the radio, what kind of station was it?
It was a classic country station.
Okay, like Willie Nelson stuff.
Yeah, Willie
that what that would
Nelson,
be?
Ferlin Husky, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash. Yeah,
And I'm not really a country guy, so the basics I kind of recognize the most there.
well, just
But
decades-wise, it was 50s through the late 70s.
isn't it funny that Willie Nelson's he's still alive today too?
Live and kicking, he's an amazing performance.
How old is that guy?
He's got to be in his 80s. He got to be.
He's kicking, man.
He's alive and kicking. His shows are awesome.
Have you seen him multiple times?
I've seen him once live. I've seen him on TV, of course, a couple times live.
That's cool.
Live to tape, as it were.
Live to tape.
But I've
of
seen him in
course.
person one time.
That's pretty neat.
That was when I was working at the radio station. We had a summer concert series, and so I would drive the van down because none of the other people. I was in my early 20s at this point. I didn't have anything else to do.
Sure, yeah.
I'd drive the radio van down and be at the concert all day, just enjoying a couple cold brews.
Sure.
Coffee,
Sure.
coffee, of course.
Cold iced coffees.
Iced coffees. We would stop drinking the coffee long before we left the concert, so we could take the radio band back home.
Very
So,
important.
Very important.
Life lessons.
Yeah. We were at the lake though. I sweat most of it off.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. The concerts were actually on the lake. There was an amphitheater that backed up to the lake.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Right on the lake there.
Yeah. So right behind the concert, the band, like a big amphitheater shell, was the lake itself.
That's pretty
Really cool. You follow Lake Amphitheater, you follow Oklahoma. Wiki that.
Do it.
Yep.
I would do it. I'm just saying.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah. So I was in radio. It was really fun. I worked for the radio station for a couple years off and on. I was a producer in college. I produced sports broadcasts. Did commentary for a couple games as a fill-in broadcaster. And then on Saturdays, we'd do wrestling.
So when you were in the radio business,
Mm-hmm.
was that where you developed that wrestling commentator voice?
That was really from watching wrestling.
Is that what it was
That's
from?
what it was from. From
Okay.
watching wrestling, Jim Ross, Vince McMahon.
So I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to cut in front of you. So the Jim Ross guy, is that the shorter, balder guy from back in the day? You used to always see interview the guys at the end of the matches.
That's Mean Gene.
I didn't know that.
Mean Gene Okerlund is the bald guy.
Mean Gene.
Mm-hmm. Mean Gene
Okerlund.
Okerlund. He's in a new Kickstart by Mountain Dew commercial with Kevin Hart.
Oh, with Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
too.
he's still going. He's in his 80s. He was the interviewer.
So I remember him. But I didn't know what his name
Yeah,
was.
Mean Gene Okerlund.
That was back, when
Yeah.
they had old school, big old microphones,
Mhm.
right? With
I love a
with-
good mic.
with these things on them too, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Big corded microphones.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I'm gonna be looking that up later too. I encourage anybody else to follow the links in the description. I'll be posting too. I think this is fun for me
It's really
because
fun. It's a walk down memory lane.
it is because again, I was trying to say earlier is that for me, I didn't really watch a lot of wrestling, not because I didn't like it,
Mm-hmm.
just because what limited exposure I had.
Mhm.
That's what I'm going off of. So
You just have the added benefit of being young, which is the time that people are most receptive to wrestling, in wrestling's golden age.
was that the
Essentially,
90s?
the
Is that when it was?
late 80s, early 90s, all the way up until about 2001, I would consider to be wrestling's golden age.
So I just remembered something. So for Halloween in my band gigs in the past, I've been Mil Mascaris.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
I do. At Luchador.
Yes, a luchador. So I don't know why I just thought about this until just this moment. So I bought a mask, a Mil Mascaris mask. And the funny thing is, I'm in a 3-piece band that was wanting to do this Halloween thing, right? So we're like, well, let's just all buy luchador masks.
Yeah.
I can't remember whose idea it was, if it was mine or something like that.
You should
Probably
take credit for it. It was Ed's idea.
Fucking right, it was my idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but when I was searching on this website, it had the M,
Mm-hmm.
like Madison, right? So I honestly didn't know who it was.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, that one's got an M on it. That'd be kind of cool because it's red. because that's one of my colors.
I can tell. I was in that the big McDonald's vehicle you had earlier.
Yeah, Big Red. You know, wait, that's a pop, right?
It could work for the
gum.
name of your vehicle too.
Gum. That's gum.
And a pop.
And a pop. Was it Big Red?
Of course, down where I'm from, we just call that a Coke.
Coke. So not soda, not pop. It's
Coke.
Coke. It doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't really matter.
I guess.
What do you want to drink? Coke. What kind? Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah. And something else I've learned from other folks from the southern part of the United States too is that iced tea, like I had for dinner tonight, iced tea is not. You have to say unsweetened, or it's not, because iced tea is sweet tea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's interesting how that changes from area to area. Now I totally forgot what were we talking about?
Mil
a second
Mascaras.
ago? Mil Mascaras. So I bought the mask, loved it, and then I ended up later after I bought it, I'm like, oh, so what does this even mean? Because the website I bought it from, it was a website from Mexico, and it took forever. I was so, you know what it was? We decided that we were gonna be these luchadors like 2 weeks before the show.
Oh no.
And I'm looking online. I'm like, where can we get these masks, right? And I didn't go to Amazon, so I ended up finding this website. They were really cheap, so I was attracted to like the $10 price for these really good quality. You know what I'm saying? Not plastic, but they were like legit.
Vinyl.
They weren't even vinyl. I feel like they were like a soft cotton or.
Oh really?
I don't know what the material was.
Like
right?
spandex or something like that.
It was softer. It wasn't like that. So I'm like, oh man, $10 for these masks. And then after I placed the order through, it's like, oh, shipping could take up to 2 or 3 weeks to get, because they came directly from Mexico, right? So that's when I looked into it. Mil Mascaras is this guy that's been around forever, apparently, and he's just been known as like a legend down there.
He's like the Hulk Hogan of Mexico.
And didn't he cross over too for a moment? And I don't remember 100% for sure, so I'm hoping if you remember.
My lucha knowledge is not super high, but go ahead.
I feel like when I researched that, when I realized that the M stood for Mil Mascaras, I'm like, oh, this guy he even came up and like did something in the 90s.
Oh,
like
I'm sure.
He crossed over, right?
You know, one of the things that's a hallmark of wrestling is different organizations working together. And the New York territory, which is now WWE, which was the New York territory when like our dads were watching wrestling.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
They would bring people in all the time from Mexico, from Japan.
Okay.
And all the promotions would have different agreements with different wrestlers around the world, because one of the hallmarks of that early era of wrestling before cable television was it was a bunch of local television shows and local live events, and they would run the same live event like every week. They'd run one live event a week in each of these different towns. So, for instance, the one in my part of the country where I'm from would run Oklahoma City, Tulsa. It would run New Orleans, and it would run Shreveport. All those different that would be their territory. And there was a different one in Dallas and Wichita Falls, Texas. They were all regional. And so what would happen is the storyline would run out for a certain guy. Well, these guys aren't making enough money for this to get paid during their time off.
So trying to figure out what to do next.
They would go to a different territory.
Okay.
So the same thing happened with Mil Mascaras.
Yeah.
You know, if you go from one territory to the other, maybe he's not working in Mexico at the time, so he comes up to America and works in different territories in America.
Maybe needs an easy paycheck.
Maybe. That's what wrestling's all about. What's the easiest way I can get that paycheck?
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just bringing them up. So that's the only experience I have with luchadors is that mask, because I wore it. Me and my 3 bandmates wore them at a band gig. Actually, we wore it 2 years in a row at a Halloween show we did back-to-back years, which was kind of fun. So nothing is harder to see through that mask, though, when you're trying to play guitar. And I find myself, I have good muscle memory, knowing where to play, but then there was like times like, oh, crap. And because of the way the mask came down, it wasn't like I could look down like this. It was.
You'd have to look all the way down because there's the holes in the eyes. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was fun though.
Yeah.
So I remembered that when we were talking. Like I had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
It's cool. So I'm glad you recognize that, and because I really don't know much about it still.
Hey,
I'm learning.
We're learning here.
We're drinking and we're learning, and hopefully, having a good time at the same time.
I'm having a great time.
I'm gonna. Yep.
You need a little ice here?
Yeah, or if that's okay.
Yeah, get it.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. I'll need my ice here in a minute.
And I brought this in just for us too. You drink as much of this as you want.
Well, I imagine that'll be gone by the time this podcast is over.
I hope it is.
It will be.
Because you know what? That's why I brought it.
Boom.
So, I brought it all the way from Iowa. Just where were we again? Where did we determine we were at again? We didn't actually tell them, did we?
We're somewhere in the Great Lakes region.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Great Lakes region, but not a Super 8. We already admitted to that.
We did. We're at a boutique hotel.
A boutique hotel. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, but with no fridge.
No fridge. Not that fancy.
So let's talk this really quick, off the cuff. So traveling, because we both travel for work. So what is the most crazy hotel you've ever been in? Story you've had?
Okay, so there was a couple. I worked for one territory. I worked in one territory in Indiana, and I stayed at the Econo Lodge on the Michigan-Indiana border.
I'm very familiar with the Econo Lodges. Yeah,
Like 1 mile from the Michigan border. It was $50 a night.
cheap.
But cheap.
Had a
So cheap.
pool though.
No, it was just
What?
so. I was new with McDonald's at the time,
Okay.
and so I didn't have as we do a lot of things on credit, right? Because we get reimbursed.
We do. Yes.
And so my account was not that big at the time, so I had a limited amount of money that I could expend.
Sure.
Even though I knew the company was going to pay me back,
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have the big outlay
okay.
that I have now. Now I can just whatever. It doesn't really matter.
He's a baller at McDonald's now.
Yeah, essentially, I guess I'm a baller with capital One.
You've spent enough money with us. Here you go.
Here's more money.
You're covered.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to stay at this hotel in Elkhart,
Oh, yeah.
Indiana, the
Yeah.
RV capital of the world.
Is that what it is?
It is 90% of America. 90% of the RVs made in America are made in Elkhart.
Winnebagos or
All kinds. I mean, everything.
Jayco?
Everything. Jayco. I went to the RV show this weekend.
You did.
I did. I'm getting closer and closer to buying a travel trailer.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Good for you.
But yeah, I would stay at the Econo Lodge in Elkhart, Indiana, for $50 a night. One time I got snowed in. I had to stay there for 4 days. 4 days
In Elkhart, Indiana.
in Elkhart, Indiana, and I only had 4 locations to visit there, in this area.
Sure.
And so that's 2 days worth of work. So I'm up there for 4 days.
Just hanging out in the Econo Lodge.
Just hanging out in the Econo
with
Lodge.
no swimming pool.
With no I mean, it's
Not
winter.
that that matters.
Not that it- yeah.
Right.
It was a motor inn. It was a motor lodge. I mean, it was really there. You drove up to the room. There was no interior space. I don't even know if they had an ice machine. And I couldn't really drive anywhere. I was in a sedan at the time. I'm in a coupe now. It would have been even worse.
Sure. The real question I have, not to cut in front of him, but
you're good.
the thing is that if he drives a coupe right now,
Mm-hmm.
is it okay to say what it is?
Yeah, sure.
If he drives a Camaro, how are you going to pull that trailer?
Well, we own a Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got a Tahoe.
So when you said that earlier, it kind of clicked. I'm like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. I mean, I've seen Priuses pulling, campers, pop-up campers before, but
No, the Camaro does not do any pulling. Neither did the sedan. My wife drives the Tahoe, the family car.
baller.
Absolutely, I
Thanks,
love it.
thanks McDonald's.
Absolutely, thank you, McDonald's.
Right. So okay. So that was your moment.
It was
right?
crazy.
4
It was-
days, snowed in.
Yeah.
Indiana. How far
$50
away
night
from
ago.
you? How far away were you from home?
Oh, I probably wasn't more than 2.5 hours away.
Well, at least that's nice then.
Yeah, once the snow was gone, I could drive. I drove back to Indianapolis. It was fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a time that I've just had a crazy experience at a hotel. Like you, when you're first starting with the company, you're working your way up. I remember staying in hotels that I didn't stay in any Super 8s,
Mm.
but I felt like I stayed in some really, really questionable ones
Oh, you got to.
per the advice of somebody that we know who does not like his information public, that used to be our regional, we call him performance coach, who is no longer that, because he's very like a frugal kind of guy,
Sure.
company man,
Sure,
through,
yeah.
which is cool, right?
It's great.
But I remember staying at some hotels. Gosh, I'm trying to remember now too. I think the most funniest thing I've seen in hotels, speaking of paintings on the walls like this, Holiday Inn Expresses
Mhm.
have literally the same painting above the toilet in every single Holiday Inn Express.
Oh wow. The Hampton at least varies it a little bit.
It does vary.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn Express, not so much.
Wow.
When they buy in bulk, I mean, they commit. They go.
Every hotel in the country.
Every one of them.
Wow.
And you know what the worst is too? I feel like being in hotels, the chairs. And I'm not saying our undisclosed location in the Great Lakes area
Yeah.
is not necessarily one of those. But I've been in some hotels where the chairs, the office chairs that are at the desk, awful.
Awful.
Either don't work, uncomfortable, falling apart. That's probably the most frustrating thing.
For me, the key to a good or bad office chair is that lever. Not the height one, but the one that makes sure you can either lock it or
Yes.
recline it, that is the key.
But it's got play still.
Yeah.
A lot of play.
Yeah. When it's got a lot of play like that, it's the worst because you want to be locked in. If you're going to lock it in, you want to lock it in.
You want to commit.
Yeah. You gotta go full. You gotta go full lock.
You got to commit. If you're going to do it, you want to commit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like I've never been in a situation where I've thought like, well, if I just get a hold of room service or you know the front desk, I'd be like, hey, can I get a new chair? I don't want to be that asshole. But I feel like sometimes it'd be nice to I just want to do it. You know.
If we were in Oklahoma,
yes,
we'd have a saying for that.
What is that saying?
Don't be that guy. Okay.
And I'm not, but there's been urges.
Yeah.
We all have urges, whether they're about office chairs or wrestling or scotch or music.
Or if they're of a more carnal desire.
I was trying to avoid that, but you're right. Absolutely.
No, it's okay if you use $5 words. That's the thing. You can be suggestive if you use $5 words. It's totally fine.
Of course, most people will know what we're talking about at this point.
Sure.
The kids, though, stay in school. Remember that.
Absolutely.
Okay? Stay in school.
Stay in school.
And don't drink until you're of age.
Legal drinking age in whatever jurisdiction you're currently in.
Toast. All right. So we talked about hotel stays.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling, you've been doing that for 11 years with the one that isn't the charity one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think back now. Oh, this is fun too. And again, I'm not trying to keep it with alcohol, but we were talking earlier about, certain laws and, how you're able to purchase alcohol past a certain time. And I remember what else we were talking about too when we were talking earlier about we were talking about roundabouts in Iowa and in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And then you were going to talk about something in Missouri.
Okay, so this is the weirdest thing.
Yes.
So in Missouri, they've created this new kind of interchange in the past 5 years. Springfield was the first one to do it. When you get off the highway, let's say you're driving on I-44. I-44 runs from Wichita Falls, Texas to St. Louis, Missouri. That's all.
Okay.
It just runs straight all the way through Oklahoma. It's toll the entire way through Oklahoma almost.
Okay.
And then it's all the way through Missouri up to St. Louis. So from Joplin to St. Louis in Missouri. When you get off the highways in Springfield, normally, if you get to an interchange, getting off an interstate highway, if you turn left, you have to stop. There's a stop sign.
Makes sense.
Stoplight.
Yep.
Or a stop sign. And you turn left, and you are in a one-way.
To merge onto the next
road, the crossroad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you would take a left turn, protected left turn, because there's no one coming towards you.
Protected left turn.
The protected left turn into the right set of lanes. Right, because you're always on the right here in America.
I'm following you.
Right?
Yep.
In Missouri, they've created a system in which you have a series of lights still, but instead of turning into the right set of lanes, you turn into the left set of lanes. I know, it's crazy. So,
go on.
The people that are coming this way, they turn into the left set of lanes. The people that are coming this way, they turn into the left set of lanes. So you're essentially on the wrong side of the road over a highway.
And the advantage is?
The advantage is that traffic can flow that much more smoothly.
Oh, it can?
It can. Because the people who are coming off the highway they don't usually have to stop when they get off the highway. They can get right onto the bridge. Because now it's all a yield now. Yeah. Everyone is yielding now. They're not stopping.
Like the roundabouts, right? You're yielding.
Right.
Yep.
So when people cross each other, that's when the lights come in. So when people are on the bridge, on the actual cross bridge, they stop and they let the people come off the highway, and then they'll go again and they'll switch the lanes like that. But no one ever has to truly. People will stop at some point.
Sure.
But if you're on the bridge, you don't have to stop.
So how new is that then? Is that fairly new?
It's 5 years old. I think that style of interchange.
Yeah,
they won some kind of NHTSA award for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, big deal.
NHTSA.
Yeah, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We have to know that for McDonald's, by
McDonald's
the way.
lets us know.
Yeah, they do. Right.
Yeah.
We got an extensive training on it.
Absolutely. Lots of awards.
A lot of awards.
Yeah, McDonald's is the most reliable fast food restaurant 4 years running.
They really are. They have an increasingly intense process for even the financial side we learned today too.
We did learn that today.
Yes, even though that's common knowledge stuff. I'm not saying we didn't already know all this stuff.
Right.
But it's good to get a
sometimes you just have to relearn how the fries are made.
If you can take anything away from this podcast today, say it again.
Sometimes you just have to relearn how the fries are made.
I almost feel like that is just it. That's like the pinnacle of knowledge for anybody at this point in their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, you do, right?
Yeah. You just kind of.
It is. And what would we do without those fries?
Yeah.
Those golden fries.
We wouldn't have chops.
We'd have Hawkeye vodka is what we'd have.
We would have. Or Heaven Hill.
And Heaven Hill.
And Kentucky Deluxe.
So definitely Heaven Hill because I don't like diarrhea.
Sure.
And it sounds like that you're not going to get it with.
No.
I really don't like that. So.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Although the Balvenie, I don't know if that's, am I saying that right?
Honestly, I feel like you're probably closer than I am. I say Balvenie, but I feel like because it's Scotch or Scottish, there's probably a certain kind of.
Is there a little phlegm in there? Maybe like.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. But I know I love all their products, and they're a spy side, I believe. God, go ahead and rip me in the comments. But I feel like it's a spy side, which has to do with a certain part of Scotland.
Okay.
So there's different areas.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, this
it's
legit.
Great. It is great.
It's too legit to quit.
It's coming down easy now.
It really is. Again, the first couple of sips, right? I went with a friend recently to a distillery in my local Quad Cities area, which is always refreshing to hear somebody else say Quad Cities besides me. Like earlier, you mentioned Quad Cities because you just know. We went to a Mississippi River distillery, which is actually Cody Road. They make a bunch of ryes and bourbons and all that kind of stuff. And I took a friend with me, and basically she was like she had never. And you could tell, like the first couple. I told you the same thing. It's like you get through the first couple, and then it's a lot easier. And sure enough, it really, you get through the first couple,
and it's just good.
It's just smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And even though it wasn't Scotch,
smooth sailing,
just like his beautiful Hawaiian shirt there. If you can get past the first couple of sips, it's so much better for you too. Yeah. It's basically what I've been dieting on, lately.
You're looking good.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm not digging for compliments, but I guess what I'm saying.
No, it's just in a real honest place. You're looking good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what the hardest thing was? Is I used to drink like IPAs and all those double IPAs and the ports and the different types. And I love those microbrews, right? But I definitely looked into it. You know what it was for me? And I don't know if you've seen this before. Boardwalk Empire.
I've not. My brother loves it.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Yep. So incredible show. I thought it was pretty good. About Prohibition, which we were kind of talking about earlier too, right? Back in when Oklahoma changed certain laws.
Oklahoma was 40 years late to Prohibition.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna. So when I watch through this footage, I'm definitely gonna be like researching all that stuff because I think it's interesting. So I remember watching Boardwalk Empire and thinking, you know what? Maybe it's time that I try some whiskey. I'm old enough. I smoke cigars. Maybe I should be that typical guy who smokes cigars and have a Scotch too. And then at first a little rough and then just smooth.
Yeah.
And enjoyable.
That's
and
great.
You don't take as much in to enjoy the effects too.
It's really nice.
Right. Enjoying the effects is fun. Kind of like wrestling. You get to enjoy those effects. So much longer do you think you're going to keep doing the wrestling?
I don't know. It gets to a point we travel so much that it's hard.
What's the furthest? Sorry to interrupt. What's the furthest?
The furthest travel?
Wrestling, yeah.
No. Then I'm not saying the travel that we do for McDonald's is so extensive,
right?
That it's hard to go out and travel for 4 to 5 days a week.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And then come home, get all of our paperwork done, and then go out all day Saturday. To be gone all day Monday through Thursday, and then the kids are in school or daycare on a Friday.
I understand completely.
And then on a Saturday to go out and actually do something. All day Saturday, because when I'm doing wrestling, I leave the house about noon, and I'll get back at probably 9, 10 p.m.
So that was gonna be my next question. Like, how long are you gone? So for me, and so it's good to know noon to 9, 10 roughly, right? So it's a nice afternoon deal. Yeah. So when you play music, at least in the Quad Cities area where I'm at, basically I leave at 6 to 7, so right after dinner. Be there enough early so I can set up all my gear. So it's and then I play for 3 hours or 4 hours depending on the show. I'd almost rather do it where it was noon to 9 every day because then by the time I get done like packing up, and it's like you pack up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to drive up to an hour away home. It gets to be a recovery Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So if there's a downside, it's me I'm jealous of the fact that you get to do that as an afternoon thing at least. But at the same time, it's kind of nice. Because it is in the evening, so like I get to spend more time at home with the kids, during the day.
Sure.
I guess, which
is the goal. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, my wife completely understands when I'm going to do something that I love or going to do work.
That's awesome that she's like that.
She's
too.
an amazing woman. She's a total saint. And I'm not just saying that because this is on YouTube and she'll probably see it.
I believe
she's an
in that.
amazing woman.
I believe in
Absolutely
that.
love her.
Yep.
I love her. It's just the kids. You know, if you miss like a soccer game, or if you miss, you miss a cartoon viewing with them, or like a movie. Or something. It's just so big,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
How much do you measure movies in your cultural zeitgeist, right? Like The Lion King for people our age.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Loves
It's a huge deal. I played. Okay, the other day, I turned my Alexa on, and I said, Alexa, play "Circle of Life" by Elton John.
Circle of Life.
Absolutely, that was a great rendition right there. I like that.
That was awful. I'm drunk, by the way. I'm not drunk. I might be, but anyway.
It sounded good in the headphones. I mean, I'm also pretty good because I had some pregame pod drinks.
He did, yeah. I just had an iced tea.
Yeah, I was throwing the Canadian blended whiskey down.
The Canadian blended whiskey.
Yeah.
What was it again?
Crown Royal.
Oh, it was a Crown Royal. Is that Canadian?
It is Canadian.
Did I told?
Okay, so funny story. Not to make this all about alcohol, but we've been talking about alcohol quite a bit.
That's okay.
Crown Royal was created by a Canadian distillery to honor a royal visit.
Oh.
Yeah. About 75 years ago.
From like England or something?
Yeah. Well, you know, the British royal family is also the ruling royal family of Canada.
I didn't know that either.
Well, we might talk. Okay, after the pod, we might talk some geopolitics.
We can talk it now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
You know, I'm a former state geography bee finalist.
Okay.
So I know a lot about this stuff. Not to toot my own horn or anything. The Scotch is getting to me here. I'm starting to get a little braggadocious.
Go ahead. You brag all you want. This man, he deserves it.
The Commonwealth realms, pretty much the only nation that wasn't part of the UK, that's not part of the Commonwealth nations, is the US. So every nation that used to be part of the British Empire, essentially, still recognizes the British royal family.
They do.
They do.
Is Australia in that category?
Absolutely. Australia, New Zealand, England. I mean,
Even
of course,
New
the United
Zealand.
Kingdom.
I didn't even know New Zealand was a part of that, too.
New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Fiji, up until the 1950s, India, until they declared independence.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you know, cricket is essentially the biggest sport. The second biggest sport in the world is soccer, and it's only played in countries that had British influence. So South Africa, of course, all the British companies, Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, they all have cricket teams. And most of these countries that are part of the former British Commonwealth still recognize Elizabeth II as the head of state.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, just 'cause it's a ceremonial job. Like, she doesn't actually hold any power in these countries. The Queen of England, so Elizabeth II, Her Majesty, doesn't actually hold any power in any country. It's all constitutional monarchy.
Like a figurehead?
Yeah, she's a figurehead.
She got corgis.
Yeah, beautiful dogs. The last one died, though. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
The last one died. She's too old. She's not going to get another one.
Actually, I recently had a corgi that left my life. I'll have to show you pictures when we're done. So it's okay. No, it's not because it passed away. It's another situation.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
yes.
Good. I mean, bad. I don't know what the situation is, but good. It didn't die.
I let her keep him.
That's the worst. That might be even worse than death.
I still have the breeder's contact information. I might get another one.
There you go.
So.
There you go. But yeah, Elizabeth still remains the sovereign, the head of state of most of these countries. You know, in America, we have an identical head of state and head of government. The president is the head of state and also the head of government. In most of these former British colonies and the United Kingdom itself, they have a separate head of state and head of government. The head of state is Queen Elizabeth in the United Kingdom.
So who's the government then?
The prime minister.
Oh, the prime minister.
Yeah.
Is that Tony Blair guy?
It was in the 90s.
Okay.
The current prime minister is Theresa May, but that could change at any time.
I didn't even know that. I'm not big on the politics side, but I'm learning here. So.
Yeah. Her name's Theresa May. It's all about Brexit there. That's a big deal.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But getting back to wrestling.
Yes.
Okay.
Tie back.
So we talked about wrestling for a cause.
Yes.
WFC. I want to talk a little bit about UWE because my role is completely different there.
So you're actually in the action.
I'm actually in the show.
This is going to be this would be awesome.
This is the part right here. So I was a commentator for years at UWE, ring announcer, I introduced the wrestlers as they came to the ring. But about 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do a little bit more. And so I hatched this idea, and I presented it to the people who run the promotion, and I decided I wanted to be a manager. And so I managed this wrestler named Trey Cole. He was a Southern character. He carried the stars and bars. Not something that I'm cool with, but it was a gimmick. So we were running a storyline.
Okay.
That's the battle flag of the Confederacy for those who
Yep.
aren't indoctrinated. He carried that, and I was his manager. In this part of the world, he was a good guy. Okay, just to let you know where we're at.
Okay, I understand.
These parts of the world are real. If
I'm
you were
not
wondering,
I'm not as judgmental, so I'm okay with whatever you're laying down. So.
I was not super okay with it, but I wanted to make the gimmick work.
Sure,
And
I understand.
so, yeah.
You were selling it.
I was selling it.
Yep.
So he left wrestling, and so I was without somebody to manage. And so an opportunity came up for me to be the authority figure character. So on every wrestling show, there is an authority figure.
You mean an example like with WWE or...
Vince McMahon.
So he would be the authority
He's
figure.
the authority figure.
The
character.
mastermind.
Right. It just so happens that in Vince McMahon's case, he's also the owner.
I was just going to say, I thought he was kind of a big deal.
He's also the real life, or what we would call shoot owner of the WWE.
Shoot.
Shoot is, so shooting means it's real. Like I say, if we were in a wrestling match and I just blasted you in the face with a punch, I punched you.
Good to know.
So shoot, it means real.
Shoot means real.
And work means planned.
So how much shoot goes on compared to work? Real to fake? For actual... So, we talked... I'm not trying to give away what we talked about off camera, but you're like, is it okay to talk about this stuff?
Sure. Yeah, it's fine.
So you go for like the... what he was explaining to me earlier, and he's going to do a better job than me, but like you go to like punch or smack somebody and you're focused on one thing. It's like magicians almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same moment when you go to... It makes that noise, right? And I just bump the microphone.
Oh, you're good. It made an even bigger noise.
Oh, it will, especially on the recording.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, shoot...
So the matches are pre-planned, right? We talked about that earlier.
We did, yep.
So that's working.
David Arquette.
Yeah, David Arquette. Ruined WCW.
Way to go.
Exactly.
I hope you're watching. He won't be.
Thanks, Dave. So when trained wrestlers are in a match,
yes,
they can work and they can do whatever they need to. Depending on how good they are is how good it's going to look. But if they're both trained wrestlers and they know how to take falls or bump, they're going to be really good at wrestling. Like you're going to see that they're trained. But I'm not trained. Okay? I've never been trained how to wrestle or do any of that stuff. So when I'm involved in something physical, which tends to be few and far between just because of my role as the authority figure, and especially as a bad guy authority figure.
Is that what your role is?
I'm a bad guy authority figure, or what's called in wrestling a heel.
What a dick.
Yeah, so I'm a heel authority figure. I brought my sunglasses here. What we'll do is we'll actually have Ed interview.
That would be awesome. Are we going to do that?
Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have you interview me as the heel character, and what I'll have to do is put the sunglasses on because my name's still Dustin McGowen, so you can just do that.
This is going to be awesome. This is not planned, by the way, and I'm all excited about it.
This is cool.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. But when I'm involved in something physical in wrestling, I have to constantly tell these wrestler guys who are trained, I say, you've got to lay it in. You've got to shoot on me. I know you're working. I know that this is going to be still in the storyline. You're not taking any advantage of me or anything like that. But you have to hit me as hard as you possibly can.
And this is not shoot.
No, it's not a shoot because they're not doing it on purpose. Like it's within the confines of working. Okay, they're working towards a goal, a pre-planned action. It's
building up the story.
Yeah, it's building up the story. I'm the bad guy. I want to own everything. I'm in charge. I'm the director of operations.
Kind of a badass.
Yeah,
this guy is.
I want my guy. His name's Alex. He's the champion. I want him to keep the championship at all costs. And so I'll do anything because the best thing in wrestling about a good bad guy is that they don't think they're a bad guy.
Oh, of course not.
Right.
Right.
So and art imitates life.
Yeah.
So if someone is necessarily a bad guy in like a governmental sense, they don't think they're a bad guy. They
Of course they don't.
Of course they don't. They think they're doing right.
Yes.
They're righteous. They're good. they think they're doing the right thing, right?
This is like perfect. I love
It's
where
perfect.
going. I love it.
And
Keep
so
going.
I have to tell these guys that they need to hit me as hard as they possibly can. If they're going to hit me with an object, or like, say if they're going to hit me with a stick, or if they're going to hit me with a chair, or if they're going to hit me with some type of object.
I think chairs when I think of wrestling in the
Yeah.
past, but yeah.
So, yeah, when they're going to hit me with a chair, I say, please don't hit me in the head, because that would be bad for me, because our jobs at McDonald's use our brains.
we have to use our brains at McDonald's.
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, we have to use our brains at McDonald's.
Underappreciated.
Yeah. Don't hit me in the head, please. But if you're going to hit me, you have to hit me as hard as possible, because I don't know how to sell.
Gotta make it believable.
You gotta make it believable. I don't know how to work being hurt. I just need you to hurt me
Yes.
so that I'll be hurt. And I can act hurt if I'm really hurt. Like, I can embellish. Like, if you slap me right now, it would don't
Not-
do it, please.
Not shoot. No, not shoot.
If
but,
you were to slap me right now, right, that'd be a work slap.
and of course I can't do that with a damn. So
Yeah. If you were to work slap me right now, I probably wouldn't even know how to react to it, because you're not actually hitting me in the face.
making the noise.
Right. Yeah. But if you shoot slap me, I will feel the pain,
Yeah.
and that'll cause me to react in such a way to where I can embellish the pain.
Be realistic. More
Yeah, exactly.
Selling it better. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, as somebody who's not trained like these guys are, in the few and far between situations that I am actually involved in physical altercations, I'm not involved every month. One of the things you have to do with a character like mine is you have to make sure that the physical interactions between the good guy wrestlers and the bad guy authority figure are few and far between, so that the crowd is waiting for it.
Oh, anticipation.
For that guy to get his comeuppance.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So this last month here, we had our annual Rumble, which is a over-the-top rope match. So someone enters every 60 to 90 seconds, depending on where they choose to put the interval. And the only way to win is to eliminate everyone else by throwing them over the top rope and their feet hitting the floor. Okay.
I think I know where we're going.
Yeah, so I was the 42nd entrant in the Rumble. And I got eliminated last in the
Over the
storyline.
ropes.
Over the ropes. Over the top rope. If you can see here, that bruise right here.
Yeah, pull. Make sure everybody can see that there.
So if you can see right here, that's the bruise that I got from actually hitting the ropes. Because they're actually made of rope.
This guy's a BA. I mean, look at this guy.
I actually had the commentator. He said, "Sir, you are a much braver man than I." Great.
What were you wearing at the time too?
Okay, so normally, just because I'm a person of size, as you would say it in 2018, I'm a bigger guy.
Is that how we should do it to be politically correct? Or
That's
something
how
like that?
I consider it to be politically correct. I'm a person of size.
Okay.
I wear a suit.
By the way, you're very beautiful. I'm not hitting on you.
Thank you.
Don't ever let that ever. Yeah,
Thank
person
you.
of size. Is that really what it is?
No, it's not. I mean, it is in some circles, but I don't. I'm just doing it to be funny.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to hit on you by saying
Yeah.
that either.
No,
So
you're good.
He's a good man here.
Thank
so
you.
all right. So what were you wearing though?
I wear suits when I go to wrestling. I wear suits.
Okay, like
So because I'm a
commentator.
I'm a commentator, and
Yeah.
so a commentator would wear a suit. If you're watching a sporting event, a commentator wears a suit. And then in UWE, I'm the bad guy who's in charge of everything. So I'm the boss.
No matter what, you're wearing a suit.
I'm always wearing a suit, right? So when I came out for this match, it was kind of an impromptu. It wasn't. It was impromptu in the storyline.
What was it? Was like a last minute thing?
It was not a last minute thing from our planning stages,
Oh,
but
yeah.
in terms of how it was placed in the show, it was. So I was wearing. I wear A shirts. I might
Okay.
be the last person alive that wears A shirts.
We're not judging.
I don't call them white beaters because that's inappropriate.
That's rude.
They're called A shirts because that's what it says on the back.
I respect it.
Yeah. So I wore an A shirt, a pair of suspenders, and dress pants.
Is there a video of this somewhere?
There'll be video in 2 weeks at United Wrestling Entertainment's YouTube page.
So at some point, I'm going to link that if I can remember. If he reminds me, or if I
I'll
if I
remind him.
remember, I'll put that link in the description so you can check that out. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Absolutely. Green Cane Studios was nice enough to tape the Rumble, and they'll have a YouTube video of it pretty soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll post that in the links on the video.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will.
So I entered 42nd out of 42 people because obviously I'm the bad guy character. I entered last. I want to win because the winner won a shot at the championship, and my guy is the champion. So if I win, my guy didn't have to fight anybody.
So what was your entrance like? What's your entrance?
So my entrance, I have an entrance theme, and it's a song by a guy named Rag and Bone Man. He's a rapper.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, and his the song that I come out to is called Human. And the chorus is, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me.
Yeah.
And I really think it's central to my character there. Because in my opinion, my wrestling character is, none of this is my fault. I'm only reacting to all the things that go on around me. I'm in charge of the show. I'm trying to make it as good as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, it's none of this. I'm not the bad guy here. You guys are. You guys are the bad guy because you cheer all these people who don't deserve to win.
It's like what we were talking about earlier, it seems like, right? Which was that reference to, oh, man. God, I've had enough to drink now. I'm trying to remember what we were saying earlier about you don't think you're the bad guy, but you are, or something like that. What were we talking about?
The best bad guys don't think they're the bad guy.
That's what I was thinking
That's the key. The best bad guys don't think they're the bad guy.
And that's what your character is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. I made the show better. I was a commentator. I always wanted more. Now that I have more, I own everything. So that's the deal.
That's awesome.
So I came out in this Rumble. I got eliminated. The good guy is going to have a shot at the title at our biggest show of the year in October.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And then I have a match coming up in October.
You do now.
Spoiler alert. It's going to be a street fight.
That's awesome. Street fight?
Yeah, it's going to be a street fight. With me and I have a nemesis who's not involved in our storylines right now.
But he will be.
He will be. I mean, he was before.
Spoiler alert. Seriously, I mean, should we be talking about this yet?
We probably shouldn't. But I will not tell you about results, but there's going to be a street fight.
Off camera. I'm going to find out, just to let you know. But maybe when he comes back, are you going to come back and do this with me again some
Absolutely.
other time? We'll talk about it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you're going to have this Nemesis fight coming up, though?
Yeah.
When's that again?
That'll be in October.
Is it viewable at all, or is it only recorded and posted weeks later?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
There will probably be a link to Green Cane Studios in this video.
I'll totally do that.
I will try to get that to you, and we will see what they post. If they post Showdown, which is our biggest show of the year, we'll see if it gets there.
So that's awesome. Yeah. That's cool.
Hopefully it'll be online because I want to treasure it forever as a memory, as my one and only wrestling match. Because I've been in a tag match before, and I've been in the Rumble like I was on Saturday.
40 what again?
42. I was entered number 42 of 42. And I've never been in a singles match before. So this is probably the first time I've ever been this is probably the first and only time I'll ever be in a singles match, like a one-on-one matchup. So
that's so cool.
Pretty cool. Do you want to interview my wrestling character?
Yeah. Okay. Before we do that, let's do this. We need to finish off this drink.
Okay.
Let's finish this off. All right. Is there any ice?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a quick moment to grab some more ice. And, again, our not-so sponsor is Balvenie. Absolutely. Not so.
The 14-year variety.
14-year Caribbean cask. You know what I enjoy about doing this? It's fun, of course, and I've said this before, to hang out with people and learn a lot because I don't know anything, really. So it's fun to learn from people, but also hang out, have some drink, and also cut loose and talk about what they're passionate about. I mean, this has been a lot of fun so far.
It really has.
And talking about, like, your wrestling and everything like that. I mean, we've talked about all kinds of stuff, really, probably at this point, right?
We've talked about optical health.
Important to know, kids.
Liquor laws of the state of Oklahoma.
Important as well.
Professional wrestling history.
I think that's interesting. Also, I thought the British side of things, or the
geopolitical ramification of the British Empire.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, hell yeah. By the way, you can curse. You can curse on this. By the way, it doesn't matter.
I try not to whenever I'm on camera. That's a big thing for me.
That's okay. But it's my podcast. I'm gonna do what the hell
there
I
you
want.
Go.
So.
There you go. There are other reasons that I'll tell you about later on. That's empty. That is empty, folks.
By the way, Balvenie, this is worth investing in. I just want you to know.
It's delightful.
It is delightful. Delightful. I mean, you could go ahead and like...
you want me to cut a promo for it right now?
Yes.
As an announcer? Ladies and gentlemen, the Balvenie Scotch Caribbean Cask 14-year, one of the most delightful scotches you'll ever have in your life.
Impressive. So, are we going to do an interview right now?
We can, yeah. I am the My character is the director of operations for UWE.
But it's your name,
McGowan.
though.
Dustin McGowan. Yeah. So I'm going to take off my glasses. So my glasses are off. And I'm going to put on my prescription sunglasses. I'll still be able to see Ed here.
I'm gonna fail at this. I mean, he's gonna be really probably nice to me because he's a Southern gentleman. But I'm gonna try my best.
Okay, before I put these sunglasses on, I'm going to let you know this is going to get real nasty.
You can be as nasty as you want. Okay.
There will be no swearing.
Don't take. That's okay. Just don't take your shirt off. Okay.
I won't. You don't want to see what's under these sails here. Okay.
And the A shirt.
Yeah.
You call it A shirt?
A shirt. That's what it says on the bag. You ready? Are you ready for this? Things are about to get real mean real quick here. Okay.
I don't know. And here we are with Dustin McGowan after the impressive fight.
What are you trying to get to here, man?
I don't know.
Come on.
What happened out there?
We're on Bush League Pod here. What are we trying to get to?
What happened out there tonight?
Okay,
Tell me what happened.
Here's what happened tonight, you coral shirt wearing loser. Okay, here's the thing. Tonight, Fuel might have won the match, but he didn't win the war.
Oh. What are you trying to say?
Me and Alex Royal and Reed the Proclamation, we are going to take the advantage in this war, and we are going to win, even though none of you people in this horrible town want us to win. We're going to take over because it's our destiny.
What do you have to say about those haters out there that are watching this right now?
Right now, I have to tell you, this is a proclamation to all those harebrained Slavic idiots out there in the audience. You're watching this podcast right now, and all I have to tell you is that Ed is displaying this, and I don't know why, because I'm way too good for him. I'm way too big time. And all that I know is that I'm on to bigger and better things, and so is this company. And Ed, you need to get a haircut.
You know what? Truer words couldn't be spoken from a gentleman such as Dustin McGowan here. And you know what? We're waiting to see what's going to happen next. We want to know, what is your secret situation weapon? What are you going to do?
Here's the thing. I don't even know where you're going with this.
I don't either.
All you need to know is that I am completely in charge. Everything runs around what I do. And that me and Reed and Alex Royal, the Proclamation, are completely in charge. And Fuel, I'm telling you right now, Fuel, there's nothing that you or any of these people out there can do about it.
What if you're proven wrong?
See, that's where we're going. That's character right there.
End scene.
End scene.
I had no idea what I was doing there. That was fun, though.
It was great. It was good.
I mean, I honestly don't have enough. What was the one in Dr. Mean, or not Dr. Mean? What's the one announcer guy from back in the day?
Mean Gene.
Mean Gene. I was close.
You're good.
I don't have enough experience watching him, though, to be like, try to channel some of that. You know what I'm saying? I failed.
No, you're good.
But he kicked ass, though, didn't he?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Clap.
Thank you.
Yes, he did very good.
And the glasses are back on. See, that's the cool thing about my character.
Who are you?
I'm Dustin McGowan. That's all you need to know. See,
wait, he's Dustin McGowan in both with and without sunglasses.
Are you ready for this? Okay, so I'm Dustin McGowan. I'm on the pod with Ed right now. And there's I'm Dustin McGowan. Keep fighting. And then there's also
Wait for it.
I'm Dustin McGowan. You suck, Ed. So see, that's it right there.
I was intimidated.
Essentially, all I have to do, my name never changes. Just the glasses and the inflection.
The inflection makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was impressed, and I was entertained. I hope you were entertained, too. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting watching that replay on the video
Absolutely.
before I post this and just see how, awkward I am.
It just changes like that. You're not ready for it.
You were awesome, though.
Yeah, thank you.
It was just like, I'm sitting here thinking, how can I come back at him, right, and have some fun with this?
Right.
I failed.
No, you did fine. You were the straight man. It's okay.
The straight man.
Straight man.
Yes.
You just were playing it straight. You were asking questions, kind of like I am in WFC.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you're the announcer character instead of the... Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, all you got to do, if you're going to be like my character in WFC, is you got to think of some funny quip to go after it. Because that's usually, like, say if there's...
Like a line or something?
Like a one-liner. I'm Dustin McGowan, and Dustin McGowen is wearing a lot of glasses.
The robust synergy of this dashboard has really helped make this a great experience today. That was a thoughtful pause, is what that was.
It was. It was a pregnant pause, and I really liked it.
I love how he said pregnant pause.
Yeah.
It was a pregnant pause.
It was a pregnant pause.
Full of shit is really what it was. More than
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
This Scotch is great.
It is great, isn't it? Man, it's funny. It's, oh my gosh. So I guess to kind of recap, we've talked a lot about wrestling, which has been more fun than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Because
and we'll talk about more about it after we turn off this camera. We can totally talk more about it.
And I feel like I had my kids watch that Mr. Nanny before, but I feel like after talking to you, I feel like they got to watch that in Royal Rumble. No.
Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble. Gosh.
Starring David Arquette.
It's the Scotch. Thanks, David Arquette, for ruining WCW. Oh, I wanted to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
NWO.
Okay, the NWO.
So let me approach this to you, and then I want you to take over.
Sure.
Because I know nothing, right?
Okay.
I'm a music guy. So a lot of you guys know that watch this are my friends, musician friends that have been on my podcast too. Yeah. So I enjoy the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
And Billy Corgan, of course.
Yeah.
Can you lay out, help me understand what his deal is with wrestling?
Okay, so Billy Corgan is one of the biggest wrestling fans that in the world. Okay, so Billy Corgan is not only a wrestling fan, but he's also a wrestling fan with money.
Chicago native too.
Absolutely.
Are any of those from Chicago then? NWO from Chicago? Is that how that works?
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So Billy Corgan owns the rights to the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA.
NWA. I said NWO. What is NWO?
NWO is New World Order storyline in WCW. You were going on that Ready to Rumble knowledge.
I don't know a lot. That's
no worries. No worries.
I enjoy this.
So NWA, before the WWE or the WWF was the major league of professional wrestling, you had all these territories.
That's like where you pull in from different territories,
right?
Like
so I was talking about
earlier.
like the people traveling and stuff. So all
like
these
Mil Mascaris,
right? Like Mil Mascaris or Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair or anybody like that.
Wasn't Hulk in NW?
Hulk Hogan was in WWF,
but was he in another one later on too?
He was in WCW.
Oh, okay.
He was the founding member of the NWO.
He was. That's what I was thinking about.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, but Billy Corgan is now the owner of all the likenesses and trademarks of the NWA or the National Wrestling Alliance. So back in the day, we'll say, the NWA was the governing body of professional wrestling.
The NWA was
the National Wrestling Alliance.
Okay.
And it was an agreement, essentially a cartel of all the professional wrestling organization owners.
Cartel, I love that.
Okay, so cartel is such a dirty word, but really all the cartel is, it's a group of business owners that agree to do something the same way.
Sure.
Right.
Narcos, right?
Right. Sure. So it's got a negative connotation in the modern age, but really it serves an important purpose. Right? It's just a bunch of business owners that agree to do business in a certain fashion. So the NWA was a cartel, and they had a champion. And the NWA champion had to put a large amount of money down to hold that championship. Okay, so $25,000 back in the day.
Which what year are we talking?
We're talking the mid to late 1970s and the early to late 1980s. That's a bunch of money.
That's a bunch of money back
No, I'll say that. This is my first time on the podcast. That's a shitload of money.
Currency converter down in the description.
Yeah, that's a shitload of money. And so the NWA World's Champion would go to all the different territories with this deposit. He had a deposit on the belt to make sure that he wouldn't do anything weird with the belt.
Weird,
right? It's like give it to someone in a contract dispute or something.
Oh, okay.
So like say for most of the NWA's existence, the champion was Ric Flair. Ric Flair is one of the
that name. Yep.
Ric Flair.
Again,
woo!
It's like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar.
Where I recognize the name, but I really don't. Again, because I don't follow as much. But
Ric Flair was the 17-time world champion.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
There's a lot. I mean, he won it a lot, and he also lost it a lot.
How many McDonald's fries do you think he ate?
A lot. A lot. So, Ric Flair was the NWA World's Champion. He'd go around to all the different territories, and he would fight the best guy. He would wrestle the best guy in that territorial promotion. He'd get the big money, but he'd be traveling all the time, and he would fight them to a draw. So it'd make the guy in that territory look good, But Ric Flair would also retain the championship, so he'd wrestle 60 minutes.
Wouldn't that get
Time limit.
Wouldn't that get frustrating for a fan though? Because you're
No,
like,
no. You got to put it in that perspective. You don't have cable television, so all you know is your local wrestling event every Thursday night that you see every Friday night on television. Okay, and he's traveling to a different territory every week. Busy, and so you don't have the benefit of cable television to see the wrestling results from Atlanta or from New York. You only see. So if the Quad Cities have a territory, you only see what's in the Quad Cities on your wrestling TV show. It's on your local access network. So you never know what's going to happen.
That's interesting.
And so he's the NWA. Now, when WCW and WWF at the time in the late 80s, early 90s were fighting for control of wrestling, the WCW always had the NWA World's Championship until they decided to drop it for a WCW World's Championship. Okay?
Yeah.
And so the NWA title fell out of regard at that point. And it's remained kind of in a state of flux. There's been another TV wrestling organization called TNA, Total Nonstop Action.
I remember TNA too.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the period of like 01 to 10, there was the NWA World's Championship that was on that show.
I kind of remember that.
But now Billy Corgan owns the rights to the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. And we actually, the other week, had the NWA champion, Nick Aldis. He actually fought in Tulsa. You wouldn't know him.
I don't.
His name's Nick Aldis. He's the current NWA champion.
In the description down below.
Yep. He also goes by Magnus.
That kind of sounds familiar.
He was on TNA.
That kind of sounds familiar.
But the next big match for the NWA World Championship is actually going to be on September 1st. It's going to be a pay-per-view called All In. It's an independent show. And it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis for the NWA World Championship.
Cody Rhodes?
The son of Dusty Rhodes.
I was to say, cause
the famous NWA World Champion.
I mentioned that distillery earlier that was called Cody Road, so this kind of threw me off for a second.
Cody Rhodes is the son of Dusty Rhodes, who's one of the most famous NWA champions of all time.
Oh.
Link in the comments. Okay, I'm telling you right now.
In the description.
He meant in the description. I'm sorry. Yes. Link in the description.
How much scotch have you had to drink?
Several.
Drink more.
Yeah, thank you. There's going to be a link to the Dusty Rhodes Hard Times promo, which is the greatest wrestling promo in the history of wrestling. I'm going to show Ed this after we stop recording. I'm going to show him the Hard Times promo, and he's going to put it in the description because he's going to think that's good.
Link will be down there. You know what? I always deliver.
Yeah.
The links will be there.
So it's going to be there. And Cody Rhodes is fighting Nick Aldis for Billy Corgan's NWA Championship on September 1st.
Okay, so that's awesome. So
yeah.
I'm learning so much about like the Billy Corgan side too, because I remember, because I on Google News, because I have an Android device, Google News is part of my feed and it shows up, and because I express interest in music, of course Billy Corgan shows up, and oh wow, he's like into all this wrestling stuff, and I've always been curious, but I've never taken the time to listen or learn. But you've definitely helped. I'm going to look into it. The funny thing is that music, wrestling, isn't it interesting how things like that, music for me, wrestling for you, can tie us together though? I mean, really at the end.
It's all a performative art.
It is, isn't it?
It's about chasing that high.
It is.
Some people find it through substance. Some people find it through action. And some people find it through performance. And that's really what it's all about.
Well, regardless, it's been so much fun just hanging out and talking with him and learning so much about wrestling and optometry, opticians.
Yeah.
What was that third one?
Ophthalmologists.
There's no way I'm going to fucking remember that. Just to be clear. You know what the best part was too? Doing that exchange. I feel like if I hadn't drank as much, maybe it's better that I did drink as much, because it'd be fun to do that exchange again. I'm going to have him back again. Absolutely. And that's like when we're working together, in the future. But he's a great guy. His name's Dustin McGowen. I'm sorry. I know your name.
You're good.
It's just because
Balvenie.
of this.
I love
Balvenie.
Balvenie?
Balvenie. I'm okay with Balvenie.
I think Balvenie is all right.
Balvenie's okay.
Yeah.
And we're up here at the non-Super 8 in the Great Lakes region of the Midwest. I'm going to be clear, because when I was with previous guest Dave Crenshaw, another McDonald's alumni, We're in Detroit, or Troy, technically, right?
Yeah.
A suburb of, and
Suburb of Detroit.
we're hanging out and we're having some scotch and we're enjoying some conversation. This guy's been great. I've enjoyed every moment of talking with him, and he's a good guy too.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you
Yep.
so much for coming on. And in the future, I'm gonna have him on again. We'll talk more wrestling. We'll talk Billy Corgan. We'll talk his progression as your character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shitting you. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna be ready for that interview again.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna do some research on Mean Gene.
Okay.
Mean Gene.
Me and Gene Oakland. Absolutely.
Until then, so after this is actually an extra episode. So I actually have one a month I usually do.
Yeah.
I've already done my one for this month.
Okay.
But because I knew we were going to be here,
Sure.
I wanted to do this. So
Yeah.
in the next week, I'm actually going to have Brandon Whitaker come on. He's a musician friend of mine. But I'm super grateful to have you on. I really am.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Ed.
you so much for taking the time. Hey, give me a send off.
Give me a sign off here. Ladies and gentlemen, with Ed Madison, I'm Dustin McGowen. Keep fighting.
We'll see you next time. Peace.